So these are the 3 things that you need to do every single day so that you can get in the best shape of your life to get very lean. Now, if you do these things, you will see progress and you won't be stuck just like you have been for all this time trying to lose that weight, doing stupid things that don't work, okay? So just stick around. If you can watch this full video, you won't get lean. Very simple. Now, the first thing you need to do is fast, intermittent fast. And the reason we do this is because we want some control over our eating. If you get up, and I've done this before, and you just start eating straight away, it makes it so hard when it gets to the latter stages of the day. Why? Because we've had most of our calories in the morning and we've got so little calories to spare in the evening. So when we're on a cut and we don't have a lot of calories as it is, if we're only eating like 25% of our calories in the evening because that's all we have left, we're gonna be left to feel so hungry going to bed. And that's when we usually fuck up, right? At night, when, you know, it's the end of the day, we've done everything right. But when it comes to crunch time, we really just gotta lock in and abstain from food because we know we've had all our calories. But it's that last little fight before the next day that we have to endure so that we can stay on track. That's why we usually give in, right? We snack, we go to the kitchen for no reason. We're hungry, we know we're on a cut, we have no calories left, but we go to the kitchen, we try and sneak in some food, but guess what? That's the mistake that most people make. At nighttime, when it's crunch time, when all you have to do is just stop eating, go to sleep, you fail, and you snack on something. That's what intermittent fasting helps to eradicate, because when you leave your biggest meal for last, which is basically the concept I'm getting at here, when you leave your biggest meal for last, you actually go to bed feeling more satiated, which makes it more likely that you're gonna stick to your diet and not binge eat and snack and do all this BS at nighttime where most people fail. Now, the way I personally like to set this up is I stop eating at around 5-6 p.m. That way I can start eating again at around 12 or 1 p.m. Okay, what we're looking for is like a 14 to 16 hour fasting window. Any longer than that, I think it gets a bit excessive. But basically, you just want to stop eating at 5-6 p.m. and then when the next day rolls around, you just delay your first meal for as long as you can, ideally until, you know, noon. But overall, when it comes down to it, in those crunch time moments where you feel like you want to give up on your diet, you're less likely to fail because you're more satiated, because your last meal was a lot more calorie dense. Now, the second habit you need to adhere to is to calorie track. Track your calories and know how many calories that you're supposed to eat every single day to be in a deficit to lose weight. Now, the way I like to do this is basically just take your weight where you're at right now and add a 0 to it. Now, personally, for me right now, I'm 175 pounds. So if I want to cut, I'm going to start on 1,750 calories per day. What you want to do is you don't want to just eyeball your food. You don't want to just assume that you're eating that amount of calories just through your intuition and guesswork. You want to actually physically track. Now, the thing that I like to do, I like to use an app called MyFitnessPal, and basically you can scan all the food that you're eating and basically track it accurately. Now, this is a skill, this is something that takes time to get good at and you will have to get used to it. But the good news is that it saves you so much time, because the worst thing you can do on a cut when you're really serious about getting into shape is thinking that you're eating the correct amount of food, but you're actually not. So a week or two goes by and the scale weight hasn't moved. And you're like, why the fuck is it not moving? When you've been doing all the walking, you've been doing all the cardio, you've been doing all the weightlifting, you're adhering to your calories, but the weight hasn't dropped. The truth is, the reason the weight wouldn't have dropped is because you're not in a deficit. There's no magic to it. And usually that's because you didn't track accurately or you didn't set your calories up in the right way to actually be in a deficit and lose weight. Like I said, take your weight in pounds and add a 0 to that number. And that will be the calories that you start on. And then over the next couple of weeks, you want to track your average weight. So collect your weight, weigh yourself in the morning, every single day, take an average week on week. And as long as you're losing about 1 pound per week, you are on track. And make sure that everything that you eat, everything that you put into your mouth, pause, is actually tracked and accounted for and is accurate. So do not go over your calories. Keep your calories tight. All right. If you don't do that, everything else in this video will not benefit you. And that leads me on nicely to the third and final thing that you need to focus on, which is to walk every single day. Now, you want to walk between 10 and 15,000 steps a day. The reason being is because you burn a bunch of calories doing it. You can burn 500 to 800 calories per day if you walk 10 to 15,000 steps a day. And that basically equates, if we do it every single day, to more than 3,500 calories per week burn just by walking, which ironically is a pound of fat. So if you just walk every single day, 10 to 15,000 steps a day, you will burn fat. Now, the reason we do this is because cardio, like going for sprints, going for jogs, doing Stairmaster, etc., they're all great forms of cardio, but the problem is you end up a lot hungrier afterwards, which means you're probably gonna eat more food, right? Because we're human. And also it's harder for your body to recover from. So your non-exercise activity will be reduced because your body's smart, it wants to be efficient. Because it knows it has to recover from the hard cardio, it will bring the rest of your activity down. All right, so even me just moving my arms like this burns calories, and that will be lessened because it has to recover from the cardio that you just did. So not only will you be eating more food as a result of doing that cardio because you're hungrier and your hunger signaling is through the roof, but also your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT in short, will be reduced to compensate. Now with walking, none of that happens. You walk and walk and walk, you barely get fatigued, you barely have to recover from it, and you continue to burn a lot of calories. So when we're talking about fat loss, periods where we need to go on a fat loss diet for, weeks and months on end, doing something like walking every single day is easy, but it's also effective, which means you're probably gonna adhere to your diet. Whereas if I told you to run every single day until your legs fall off like David Goggins, you're probably gonna run into a sticking point in which you feel like you wanna give up. And let me tell you from my personal experience, I've never, ever got shredded, and I've never revealed my abs to a crazy degree without walking. Walking is king. If you can focus on walking as your primary form of cardio, you will see results. Get your ass outside or on the treadmill and just walk every single day, 10 to 15,000 steps a day, and stay in a 500 calorie deficit. If you can do that, you will burn fat. It's that simple. Now, don't forget to like my video. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want more advice and info on how you can transform your body this year, I post daily content on Instagram that will help you get there, and it's free. So until next time, peace.